You don't have to change yourself. You need to come home to yourself. And this changes everything. What to do when you don't know what to do. When everything's going great, leadership is easy. This person, they shouldn't be doing that. We'll take another look. What might be going on in their life that you're not aware of that would have them do that? Oh. If you name it and claim it, you can tame it.
Good morning. I'm Przemek Gawroński, co-founder of Next Move Consulting Group. I'm really privileged to be here today with my dear friend, buddy, mentor, and creator of the Leadership Development Intensive, the LDI, John Scherer.
Great to be with you, Przemek.
Thank you. Great. Thank you for finding the time and making time to be here with us.
Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it for anything.
Fantastic. So we will talk today about the LDI and in several steps in different contexts. But I'd like to just share that it's been a real privilege to start this journey with you 15 years ago, more or less, and to become a certified facilitator, which is not an easy task. It took me some time. It took me 5 years. It was a rough journey, but very developmental and worth the time and effort and investment. So thank you for that as a starting point.
You're one of the most, productive and profound facilitators, and there aren't that many facilitators. So I'm just grateful that you stuck with it and made it through. So you're somebody I have complete confidence in this program. It's really cool.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So going back to the layer, we've met, I think, 2012 or 13 during a conference, coaching conference.
Right.
And I knew about the LDI earlier from a couple of my friends and also facilitators of the LDI. And we talked about it, and 1 month later I already was taking the program. What I think the common topic was aikido, but we might get to that later as well.
Hope so.
Talking about the LDI, it came to life in 87.
87, yeah.
And I'm curious, what were you trying to address that was not working or not present in the leadership development arena that you decided to put up a program like this?
Well, some people sit down with a piece of paper and plan out a program. The LDI didn't come into existence that way. It was called into existence by a client. I had a Dutch client. They make a Mentos mints, family-owned business. I was doing some leadership development work with their team every year, their management board, and the CEO took me for a walk one day, and he said, "I've got one of my people on the board here, and I think he's got great potential. Would you be willing to spend some time with him?" Because I was doing the body, mind, spirit, all the stuff that I did, and I said, "I would love to." So I went back to America. He called me on the phone. This guy, I can say his name is Bert van Dijk. "What do you want me to do with you, Bert?" He said, "John, do whatever you would do with somebody that might help me become a more effective leader, parent, husband, father, human being." And I went, "Wow." Okay, and so I remember thinking, geez, usually the client is asking for something. He's saying, I can do anything. So I literally sat down with yellow stickies on the kitchen table and said, okay, what's important to me in my development? So I had running, marathon runner, yoga, meditation, all this stuff in 1987, right? And he came by himself, and my little team, a yoga teacher. I had a nutritionist from the newspapers. I had an Olympic marathon runner, took us running in the morning. So my little team worked with him for 4 days, and all my Gestalt training. I put it all together. He goes back. The next day, I get a phone call from the CEO. "John, what did you do to Barrett?" And I went, "Oh no." He said, "I got a guy in Brazil I want to send you." So he started sending his country managers, and the second one came with his wife. And she was going to go shopping, and I said, no.
Why?
Exactly. I mean, you want her in the room with you for this experience. And it was so powerful for them, for their relationship and everything. After that, they started coming with their spouses. So then an American insurance company heard about the program, and they sent 100 of their executives from around the world, one at a time, most of them with the spouse or partner.
You were busy.
I was a busy guy. And so that's how, and actually at the beginning, it didn't have a name. And the guy from Aetna said, well, John, I want to take that program. And I said, Bill, it's not a program. And he said, if you're doing what you're telling me, a guy I've known for a long time, I was doing organization development work with him. If you're doing what you say you're doing, it's a program. So he came and did it. And on the last day, he said, wow. He said, how many of these can you do in a month? And I said, well, probably 2. So they started saying, anyway, so that's how, so I decided to call it the Executive Development Intensive. Each word is important. It was executive level, it was intensive, and it was not training. It was development, as you know, what comes up from inside. What you need is inside of you right now.
And as far as, if I remember correctly, after that, Boeing reached out to you.
Boeing put all of
LDI
their, exactly.
Came to life?
Exactly. Boeing said, could you do a group version of this? Because people would go back and want their team to have it. And it was too expensive to send people individually. And I said, I would love to do a group version. So the group version is called the LDI, the Leadership Development Intent. Same curriculum. And the 5 questions emerged over time, over the first few years. Those 5 questions that have turned to be really so powerful for people.
You mentioned a CEO. If now, after nearly 40 years of running the program, if you were to describe the LDI in one sentence to a skeptical CEO, how would you say it?
Wow. I would say that the LDI will help someone identify and unleash their absolutely full potential, especially in situations where that are challenging. Like what to do when you don't know what to do. When everything's going great, leadership is easy.
Yeah, that's down the hill. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But as soon as it gets difficult, what do you do? And the LDI can help you identify the patterns that you have that you don't even know you have, break those patterns, and replace them with new habits that are much more effective and powerful.
Especially in the situations that those old patterns don't work.
Especially those places, yeah.
Okay, so LDI is a unique experience, as we know, and but there's some things that are necessary. What are 2 or 3 non-negotiables of LDI that you don't refuse to compromise, even if the client asks?
Well, are you thinking about elements in like I would never give away that are built into the program itself?
Well, I would say if the client says, okay, I want to do it, but
I want to shorten it in 2 days,
for example, or I don't want to touch the soft stuff, or what are some things that that happen, and the client say, yeah, that will be great, sounds great, I want to do it, but can we skip this part or make it shorter or something? So what are things
this is a hard question.
I know,
because
I deal with it.
I know, me too. I deal with it all the time because people think they have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah, no reference point.
Exactly. They think you go and you sit down, you take notes for 4 days. That's ridiculous. Why can't you just? And in fact, when the Boeing people came, 8 or 10, 15 of their high potential people, at the end of the program, we do this piece called the LDI on a page. You know that piece.
State shifting.
Yeah, how do you shift your state into this new place? And this Boeing guy said, if this is the LDI on the page, why didn't you do this on day 1? We could have saved a lot of time.
Why don't we start here?
And everybody laughed because they realized that they had to go through what they went through in order to have that page mean something. It's really hard, as you know, because this is boiled down and boiled down and boiled down and boiled down until, I mean, if you said you have to take one thing out, what would you take out of the 25 or 30 chunks of material? Oh, man. I think the 5 questions themselves are a bare minimum. What's confronting you? Got to be thinking about what's coming at me.
What's real for me
right now in this moment, this meeting, this phone call, this difficult decision, this whole big thing about whatever. And what am I bringing? You got to be conscious of that to know what you're going. And what's been running me? How are you on automatic? What would be your default way of handling this that may or may not be the right thing to do? And then, okay, what's calling you in this situation? Like, okay, what's the purpose here? What's the purpose of this meeting, this phone call? What do you want coming out of this for yourself, for the other person, for your company, for the world? And then, okay, what will unleash me? How do I put myself into action? I just can't see any way to take any one of those 5 questions out.
Oh, it's a great map.
Yeah.
I mean, or
it starts with where people are. Everybody has a tiger. They understand the concept of facing a tiger.
Along this almost 40 years of time, there's been a few people that passed the program.
We have graduates now from 55 countries. Isn't that great? You know that.
I think we counted it was even closer to 60.
Was it? Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was wondering, there's only one continent missing.
Australia.
No,
What?
Antarctica.
Oh, Antarctica. Does
That's-
anybody live on Antarctica?
So that's not, and besides that,
we'll see
people
if we
from
could-
all continents have taken it. So knowing that there's a big group of people worldwide that took the program, if when people say LDI changed my life, what specifically do you think they mean by change, and maybe what's the mechanism behind that?
I tell people that I can give them the whole program in 3 sentences, and they don't have to read the book or do the program, and they get excited. I said, well, okay, first of all, when you're thinking about developing yourself and your leadership, you don't have to change yourself. You need to come home to yourself, and this changes everything. Bang, bang, bang. So the whole concept is, okay, how do I come home to myself? So that's the core, I think, of the whole thing. So changing is more like discovering.
Exploring and discovering.
Exactly. For me, I used to say that the LDI is an action research project on leadership with yourself as the subject of the research and the researcher.
Kurt Levine would be proud of that.
He would. I think Kurt would be very happy about that.
Okay, so
And he was born in Poland, by the way. A lot of people don't know that. The founder of this field.
Yeah. Among this time as well, I'm sure you have experienced people having misunderstandings. So what is the biggest misunderstanding that you came up along this time that people have about the LDI?
I think, like I said, most people, come to the experience. It's an act of trust. They don't know it when they walk in the door. They think they're going to like a leadership program, and they bring up
a training program.
Where they're going to take notes, and then what do I have to do to get a good grade? Okay. Okay. This is not about getting a good grade. John doesn't care. John and the facilitators, they don't care. They're not blaming me for where I am. They're saying where you are is exactly the only place you could be. You're doing your best right now. This is not a criticism. You're absolutely the best you can be.
You're great right now.
Exactly. We want to help you go deeper with your bucket into the well, go deeper into the water to discover and embrace and then put to work features, capabilities, capacities that maybe you didn't even know you had. I think everybody who came to the LDI would say that's what happened to them.
Yeah, well, I've done it tens and tens of times, and there's every single one I discover something new about myself. That's why I love the program.
See, that's what makes you a great facilitator. When I'm looking to certify facilitators, especially in the early days, I didn't want good trainers. I had lots of people wanting to be facilitators. You give them a magic marker and a flip chart, they could dazzle a whole room. But were they in development themselves? And so, like I used to tell you guys, as you know, I want you to get more out of this program than anybody else in the room as a facilitator.
we had comments from people about how to make money in business world. They said, the question, who should pay who now?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So let's talk for a minute about what really happens in the room. What, from your experience, how would you describe the experience that is developing, or what is happening in the room within the first 1 or 2 hours that is a signal to the participants that this is not a typical training program?
I think it starts with the pre-work that you do, that we do with people before they show up. We're asking them to questions about themselves that they maybe have never thought about before, like what do you do under stress, and talk to me about a situation that isn't working. Think about a tiger. Whoa, that's a whole new thing. So then when they walk in the door, if it's an intact team, or if it's a group of strangers, there's slightly different nuance there. Okay,
different dynamics. Yes.
So if it's in a team of people that work together, in a way, as you know, as a facilitator, that's a little bit of a different challenge because they've developed patterns and personas and
working around with each other.
Exactly, and they think they know each other. And so there's a pattern not only in themselves, but in the group that needs to be softened and discovered. The group has to discover some things about itself. But in any kind of an LDI, within an hour, they've had a chance to talk to somebody, turn and talk to somebody about a tiger. My gosh, you're not supposed to talk about situations that aren't working for you.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're supposed to be successful and on top of everything.
Handling.
Yeah, I'm handling this. What do you mean? So that's a challenge right off the bat. And I think the fact that we're not pushing anything, it's an invitational space.
So this experience can be already something new.
Absolutely. They go to training programs where they're being told what to do by the facilitators. We're creating a space for them, and they have a choice. And because sometimes that people come with a raincoat on and take a shower with their raincoat on. I'm not gonna talk about that stuff. And by the end of day one, it's really hard to not just get in the pool, and because they can see how really lovely and how powerful it is for other people, and then they jump in.
To open up.
I'm an old swim coach, right? I was a swimmer in college.
Better for me.
Yep. And I used to love to do groups, teach people to swim in groups, kids or grown-ups, because let's say it's about, okay, first you put your face in the water. Nobody wants to do it, right? That's why they're in the class. But somebody takes a chance. They put their face in the water, and other people see it, and they go, okay, maybe I can do this. And that happens in the room.
It might not be the end of the world.
Somebody talks about their tiger, opens the door. And, we talk to the CEO ahead of time and do what we can to get them ready for that. Quite often the CEO says, okay, I'll go first. And boy, that models,
well, he's a leader on
and
many dimensions.
We're doing it as facilitators because we start by saying, let's explain the tiger. Let me tell you what one of mine is. So I think when you ask the question, right off the bat, we are transparent. We're authentic as facilitators. We're not, we say the sage on the stage, we're the guide by your side. We're in this with you. And I think they see that very, very quickly. We're walking down this path with you for 4 days.
It's moving. When we talk about it, I always feel moved by the experience. Now we don't have to have the experience. I'm already moved. So which moments tend to be the turning points for the participants?
I think there's several. I think right after the tiger, which is day one, there's a sense of, that wasn't so bad. Wow. It's like, wow, okay. Oh, this could be okay. There's a settling in and
that's okay.
Trust. Yeah, I'm okay. It's okay. This is going to be okay. I'm even curious about what happens next. That's first thing. Then I think once they get into the persona and the shadow work, on the second day, and they realize that they've been, in a sense, we've all been putting on a show for the world.
We are.
Yeah, we are. Aren't I cool? Aren't I great? Aren't I smart? Whatever we think we're supposed to be. And then back behind that, there's stuff that we're not really sure we should leak out, and that's where the growth. That's where the growth is. I think that's a really, really powerful moment as well. And I think when we teach about seeing the world, that what you're seeing is your own. That you've got glasses on that's filtering what you're seeing, and they have this experience of giving the other person a chance, take another look, respect for the person, look again. This person, they shouldn't be doing that. Well, take another look. What might be going on in their life that you're not aware of that would have them do that? Oh, wow, I never thought. That's a moment of kind of shifting somebody's entire story that they have about a person or a situation or a decision. So I think those are the three that come to me.
That's a very powerful, it's one of those beautiful moments where I love we play with silence. We throw in a question and we see how people struggle internally. What's the right answer here? And once they come up with it, it's a life-changing moment when they realize, for example, that we see the world differently.
I think when you say that, Przemek, I hadn't thought of this before, but I think for many people, the experience of being seen deeply without judgment is very, very transformational for most people. There are very few people in the world have had a relationship like that, where I could talk about stuff that I don't want to talk about, and it would be okay.
I won't be judged. I can be safe here.
Welcome to the human race, I like to say.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, so intensive. The LDI is intensive. And how do you mean? Emotionally, cognitively, relationally, behaviorally?
All of the above.
All right. Can you say a word more?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's some ideas that are intensive. I mean, just the stuff we've been talking about. You mean it's okay for me to judge somebody, and at the same time, I need to own it. Like we say, if you name it and claim it, you can tame it. So if I see something in myself or somebody else and I can name it, but then I can claim it, I can own my piece of what am I bringing to the situation, then I have the possibility of taming it, putting it to work on behalf of myself and the people around me, something like that. So That's so. What makes it intensive? I think 4 days. We pack. I know this one person said, I started getting coaching. I had some coaching for about a year, and I got more out of those 4 days than I did out of the whole year. And I said, your coaching got you ready to get what you got out of the 4 days. But what we pack into those 4 days is extremely intensive. And so I like to say toward the end when people go, they're just, they're tired. You get tired. I mean, you get tired, but it's a good tired. I'm an old marathon runner. There's and I swam the butterfly, right? There's tired and there's good tired. And I think at the end of every day, people, they when they go to bed at night, there's something that has happened during the day.
It was meaningful.
Yeah, and it was meaningful, and it was intensive. It's not something. It's not casual. We're not shooting the breeze here. We're not just sitting around drinking a beer and talking about the sports. We're talking about yourself and your life and how you construct meaning and stuff like that. What's the purpose of your life? Whew, this is big stuff.
Engaging. Okay, so if you think of LDI, what does happen in the LDI that most, from your perspective, leadership development programs avoid?
Everything that is risky is easy to leave out of a leader. Like most leadership programs, I don't know that this is true, but over the 50 years that I've been doing this, I haven't seen many other leadership programs that are willing to go as deep with the material and the invitation for people to explore what's happening inside of them in the moment. Which is that's why it takes so long to become a facilitator. Yeah. I can't. In the early days, I realized I can't, like most programs, I can't just come for a weekend and take the notebook and say, good luck, go off and facilitate this program. You have to be, as a facilitator, you have to be ready to go there yourself in order to invite anybody else to come with you.
Yeah, I remember you saying, and I heard it several times along the years when somebody was considering to become the LDI facilitator, you always said you can join the journey, start the journey, but there's no guarantee you'll get certified.
Exactly.
Because it's not a certificate that you go check points and...
I didn't want you to think you were buying the certification. No. We'll both know when you're ready. I think your own personal experience is that I think we both knew when you were ready.
Well, I was hoping that I'm ready.
Yes.
Some time ago. Okay, but I think we mentioned it slightly, but maybe there's something more to say about this. How does the LDI create the psychological safety without making it soft or performative?
Great question. I think there's a safety in the room that we're responsible as facilitators. We're creating a space for people to explore who they are. That's our job. Not to tell them who to be, but provide profound questions. So the safety comes from knowing the difference between therapy and what is therapeutic. Therapy comes from the Greek to be whole. So therapy is to help people become more whole. So in a way, it is therapeutic. People are becoming more whole, but we're not asking them to talk about their potty training or anything like that they have to go into their ancient history. We want to know, who are you now when you walk in the room? So the safety comes from everybody in the room in the same space. Co-creating in the safe space, gradually going deeper and deeper together so that there's nobody's kind of jumping in or going too much or too little. That's the art of this whole experience.
Okay, we talked a little bit about, history, what's happening during or within the process, and I'd like to ask you a couple of questions about the outcomes of the LDI. So what outcomes do you see in individuals after 30, 90 days after the LDI?
I've had this experience after 35 years, whatever the number is, since 87.
39.
I would be in this happened to me in the Chicago airport 4 or 5 times. Somebody's coming, I'm bumping into somebody, and who's an LDI guy. It's a true story. Run up to me, big hugs, and they say to me, "Not a day goes by," and this is after 10 years. John Scherer, not a day goes. I've had this. I bet I've had 1,000 people say this to me. Not a day goes by, John Scherer, when I don't think of something that happened to me that I learned from the LDI. So there's a sticking power that happens. We don't have, there's no way to gather data, but I think it's a very, very high percentage of people for whom this is, and you know this, they'll say, John, next to my marriage and the birth of my children, this is the most significant event in my adult life. Now, you know, that's
a different story.
Yeah, that is something that just doesn't happen in an everyday program.
Okay, thank you.
Let me say one more thing. When people go through the LDI as a team.
That was my next question.
Next question? Okay. Well, we're on the same page. Profound things can happen. There's a level of trust and respect that gets created. I remember back in the old days, CEOs would say, I want to send some of my people, after they went to the solo program, they would say, I want to send some of my people to the group program. I said, well, at least send 2 or 3 together. And well, I can't send those 2. Why not? Well, they hate each other. I said, absolutely.
Then you should.
You should absolutely send them. There's no way they're going to come through this without a whole new level of relationship and respect and all this kind of stuff. So there's profound shifting of the patterns on a team of people. And even a group of strangers, when they go through this, there are people staying in touch now after 5 or 10 years. You know, every now and then they'll do a Zoom call or something with that they were in the LDI with because it was such a profound experience. So I think it has an effect on, without it intending it, has an effect on their relationship with their children, with their spouses, their partners, their friends, their colleagues. It affects when you make a shift, when one makes a shift internally about who you think you are, and get excited about the discovery, that changes, it shifts in some way. It ripples out into all your relationships.
Yeah, I can relate to that. And you said people stay in touch, connected. You might enjoy this, you might not know this, but I know there's the longest buddy groups after the LDI. As you know, they're put in trios to continue work and support each other. Because no matter how you turn, your back is still always in the back. You don't see everything, and they just enjoyed it so much. They are in their meeting ever since 2018, every Friday morning at 9 a.m. And those are 3 CEOs from big consulting companies.
That is incredible. Thank you for telling me that, Scherer.
See the numbers, and
that is just lovely.
Okay, so. That's
just great. Thanks for telling me. That is fabulous feedback for me. It's fabulous feedback.
I know others that they don't have such a long history, but I know they're meeting now for over 2 years, every week, for at least half an hour to check in, to check stuff that is happening. So it's really sticking to people. But one of the questions that often gets asked is if the LDI is shown to an organization, HR, they say, okay, I love it, sounds great. What will be the ROI?
We've already touched on some of it. If you understand the waterline, is one of my models, that above the waterline you have the stuff, the operational stuff that happens at work, the budgets and plans and projects and so on. And then below the waterline is the human dimension of people interacting with each other in the service of the stuff that's happening above the waterline. The LDI focuses on you as a person and your interactions with other human beings in the service of whatever the organization, whatever the mission and purpose and the hard stuff. As you know, that stuff above the waterline is called the hard stuff.
It's countable.
And we don't do the soft stuff. I go, no, it's not the soft stuff. It's the harder stuff. So if HR is talking to me, I would say, you know what I'm talking about. Why does HR exist? Because it's the harder stuff about being in organizations. You know, it's not being in a meeting and just talking about the budgets. What makes it difficult is the respect or not that people have for each other, the trust, the collaborative spirit. LDI can have a direct impact on the way a group of people collaborates. We had a major client here, which I know you were a part of some years ago, and they put all of their board went through, and then they said, we want our N-1s, we want our next level people to have it. So they came in cross groups, you know, people from different departments. So these conflicts that had happened between departments, they still happen.
But they happen differently now.
Exactly. The way people talk about it, the way they work it out, it's just a tiger to be faced. Let's have coffee. We have to talk. We got something we need to talk about here. So it transforms the way a human system comes together to get the work done. is what I would say. And of course, we've had some companies. There was a company in Krakow that put it was still is, it's a online website design marketing company. They put their programmers, everybody in that firm. You've been a part of that. Yeah. Everybody in that firm, and they're programming, sitting next to each other, programming. They've said it has an effect
on their relationship,
how they collaborate while they're writing code. For Pete's sake, if you can help people write code better, and boy, that's high praise.
Now we need to take AI for the LDI because it writes most code in the world now. But a side note to this,
I don't think AI could pass the LDI. I'm not sure they would do. I don't think AI would do well in the LDI. Not yet. No.
But I think you're going to enjoy this part because you mentioned a project that started in a certain way and moved down. And right after our conversation today, in 2 or 3 hours, together with Anya and Gabryśka, we're leaving to go to west side of Poland, 4 hours of driving, where we did 2 years ago, we did the LDI for the board. Next year, we did the LDI for all directors. And this year, they decided they want all regional directors to take the LDI as well. So we're kicking that off today. And there's a few LDIs for those people. So exact cascading from top down, just a phenomenal way of gradually impacting the culture.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to do a conversation about how that eventually, within the 3 years, how did that impact the whole organization?
Make sure to tell the network of your colleagues how that goes, because that would be really helpful for a lot of people around the world. Like you said, we have how many?
There's
colleagues
now? 21 certified 21 certified facilitators from 12 countries.
From 12 countries.
Yeah, so that's, the world is covered, but we need more. To spread this work. If you think of the LDI, from your experience, from your experiencing the people, what changes first? Their way of thinking, their behavior, their relationship? What's first?
I think the first thing that happens is a welcoming curiosity about all of this.
Some kind of openness?
An openness to discovery. Wow, I never thought of that. Whatever it is, it'll happen sometime during day one, maybe during the pre-work. Like we say, as soon as you think there might be something here for me, the program starts. So if you're sent by your boss or your partner
or sentenced
to be there, okay, we'll take you. Because at some point you're going to say, okay, I know my boss said or my wife or partner said I should be here. Okay, I think there's here something. The minute that happens, the program starts for you. That's why we want you to start even before you come, if possible. You don't waste any time. So I would say I think the first thing that happens is, okay, this is going to be good. That's sort of the beginning of excitement about what I might learn here about myself.
Okay, so I'd like to spend a few minutes talking. We already mentioned teams, but a little bit more about teams and culture. If a leadership team is to take an LDI, when is it a good time for it and when is it not?
That's a great question. As you can imagine, over the years, I've been asked that question at various points in a team's life. I'm not being smart when I say this, but any time's a good time to do the LDI. But the motivations are different. Like when you're in crisis mode, I've had a lot of CEOs say, "Well, we can't do it now because there's just so much going on. There's so much of a." I said, "Wow, if you're in a hurricane, wouldn't you want everybody to know how to swim? So that's that time when things are going great. You think, now we can relax. Now we can take a breath. We have time. We have time now. Maybe we should do it now. That's fine. So actually, at any point in the life cycle of an organization, when it is a crisis or coming out of a crisis, but I would say anytime either you're facing a change, you're actually anticipating a change, beginning a change, in the middle of change, trying to recover from a change. All four of those are good for very different reasons. But the same skill, the same capacities that you need are the same for all four of those.
This is a great beginning of my next question, because there are different things that happen within teams. And we can have teams that are like conflict heavy. They really spar.
And not much trust, respect. They're arguing, fighting.
Well, I would say if that's not
or politics.
mature struggling, because if it's mature and we're challenging and we're open, that's beautiful.
That's
I
the
hope
goal.
that's what people I hope take from the LDI. But sometimes it's just speaking over, proving stuff, and just finding who's going to be on top today, etc. So there's this kind of teams. Then there's teams that are always very polite and gentle to each other, and then there's teams that just formed and now they're really quickly, dynamically growing. And then the executives are already mature and I've seen this, been here, done that. I understand that all of them could take something different. What would it be for looking at where they are at? What could they take?
We've had lots of, in the last few years, situations where a new CEO, executive director takes on a team. They get promoted and they get put in a situation. So that changes everything. Maybe half the people in that group were there with the prior boss, so to speak. Yeah. That is a perfect moment, even before you quote start to work together.
Kind of calibrate
exactly together. To recalibrate, to really discover who we are in this room that are going to be taking on this whole new thing with this new boss. So that's a great time, and for that reason, if in a conflict-heavy team, and you've been in rooms like that where the politics and people are careful, they're everybody, nobody's being real, they're playing games all the time. Yeah. That is, I think, when the LDI happens to a group like that, that's the most dramatic, one of the most dramatic ROIs, because it's very hard after 4 days of exploring who we are together, because those 5 questions are really good in the plural, what's confronting us. And that's another dimension that's layered underneath all that. Boy, that can be really powerful. I think the hardest, from my point of view, the hardest, most challenging LDIs for me over the years have been a room full of people like trainers, HR directors, and coaches who think they already
done that,
got the T-shirt, why am I here, kind of thing. And so like they hear something that's familiar and they kind of say, oh yeah, okay, I know that one. Oh yeah, I remember that. I read that book or I saw that video. Man, getting them to admit to themselves that there might still be something to develop. That I don't mind working with people that are angry with each other and like that. No, those are easy. The people that they think they don't need it.
Yeah, they already know all.
They're the hardest ones.
My lovely type of client. But okay, so you touched on this, but maybe you can be a bit more specific. I'm sure that people that will listen to us, the board members and CEOs might be interested in this. How can the LDI help the board, the senior leadership team, stop playing politics and start playing one game together?
I think that may be the most powerful, I think almost guaranteed. I'm not going to ever say it's guaranteed, but almost always when a team goes through the LDI together, it's really it's a lot more difficult to play games with each other without both people knowing that there's a game being played and somebody having the courage to say, hey, time out, let's be real.
Let's talk real.
Let's get real here. And so I think that if some management boards are listening to this, I would say, can you imagine, just as a thought experiment, maybe you can't even picture it because of the politics that are going on in your organization, but what if? Are you willing to just imagine the same people with the same titles sitting around the same table, having a different, real, authentic, mission-focused rather than personal-focused conversations about the same stuff that comes up and being really effective and actually happy when you leave a meeting about what you did? Can you imagine that?
Potential.
The potential is there. And I would say, you put your group through the LDI. If that doesn't happen, you ought to just dissolve that team and start with a whole new group of people.
I'm just thinking of so many
me too.
teams.
Me too, Jack.
And they would do that. That would be a really different world. And yeah. Okay, what practices or commitments help people keep the gains after they leave the room?
Great question.
How can they keep it alive in them?
Well, as you know, we touch on things like breathing. I remember this one chief executive officer of a company told people when it even affects how you breathe, and they laughed, and he said, no, listen, I can almost guarantee you're not breathing correctly in a conflict, something like that. So, I mean, that's as simple as, this is what I tell people. If you do something every day that you discovered in the one thing.
Yeah, keep it alive.
Keep it alive. Then the whole LDI stays alive for you. So as you know, we have these things that, to help people every morning for a while to kind of as little reminders. So at least we want them to keep it alive for 30 days. And after that, there's a really good chance that they're gonna stay with it. So I would say every time a conflict comes and you think, okay, here's my tiger.
It's an opportunity.
And as you know from Aikido, we say, here's my uke, here's my dance partner.
Thank you for that.
I always give you credit. Coming at me now, I'm going to have to raise my game. He or she this situation is forcing me to be the best John Jacob Scherer I can be in this moment. So if I can just have that thought, man, the whole LDI comes back to me in that moment.
I mentioned this as I understand it in relationship to Aikido. It's no matter how unpleasant and uncomfortable thing you're inviting me into, you're an opportunity for me to grow and develop and practice something that will support my growth. That's really Aikido attitude, to be thankful to your uke for the opportunity, although it might be painful, but it's an opportunity to grow.
And I think, yes, finding the eye of the hurricane. Yesterday, I had an opportunity. You talked about unpleasant things. I got in a taxi, and the driver was from Uzbekistan. Okay, I don't speak Uzbek, and I know my way around Warsaw now. I've got 8 years lived here, and so we're trying to go from point A to point B, and he turns to cross the Vistwa, and he's headed towards some other part of the world.
Yeah, really detour, right?
And of course, it's hard to turn around when you get around there. And so I'm thinking about cost, and I was really upset. And I was trying to. I had my my phone
to Uzbek,
and trying to say you're going in the wrong direction. And he was saying, no, this is my Uber. My Uber app is telling me I need to go here, and I couldn't get him to understand that the Uber app was wrong. And so you know what I did? I just took a breath. And I went, wow, this is really, what a great opportunity. Seriously, just yesterday.
To practice.
To practice. And I started smiling. In fact, I sent a message to my little team here, and I said, guys, I'm in the middle of a situation here, and I'm doing just fine. I just surrendered. I surrendered. That's not,
you let go.
Not like giving up, defeated. No. It's like, just be fully present in the situation without wishing it was anything any different. Yeah.
I don't want to put it on the real, but how old are you right now?
I'm 65 and holding, and somebody asked
for a
me,
long time.
how long you been holding? I said, 20 years. I'm 85. Yeah.
All right. And
I'll be 86 in September.
Looking forward to the party.
Me too. Fingers crossed,
Yeah. You're still in development. You're still catching yourself on
every day
on opportunities. So, a question about the LDI: a person takes it. When should the person take another one?
Whenever you are ready to take yourself to the next level, and you'll know when that is. I mean, it isn't like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It's because some people do it after 5 years. Some people do it after 6 months. I've had a few people do it after 6 months because they realized that they were maybe they went through with their team and they kept their raincoat on a little bit. They weren't like 100, 110% out there.
And they see the missed opportunity.
And then they go, okay, I want to see what I can get when I really put myself into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember your metaphor. Do you consider yourself a done product?
Right. Are you a finished product?
I finished, yeah. All right. Yes.
Yeah, you're a finished product. Yeah.
Okay. You have a long experience with working with leaders, top of huge organizations, the biggest organizations. And if the leadership is a craft, what's one move a leader must master first before strategy, before communication as a leader?
I think, great question. Where am I coming from as I take on this question, this challenge, this big thing? What is important to me? like I remember this story we tell about my friend Dave Wonder, who's a trumpet player, and he was studying trumpet with one of the best jazz trumpet players in America, Bobby Shew, and he was playing this piece, and Bobby Shew stopped him, and Dave said, "What was I doing wrong?" And Bobby Shew said, "Nothing. You were playing it perfectly." And Dave said, "Why did you stop me?" And he said, "Well, I have a question for you, Dave. Are you playing right now to impress me or to move me?" So when someone in leadership is taking on a big situation, one of the best things you can do is really be truthful with yourself before you do anything with anybody else. What am I doing this for? What are my hidden reasons? What are my secret goals? Why am I doing this?
What's calling me in this?
Take the 5 questions and go through them about this situation. What's confronting me? I got to make this big decision. What am I bringing? My hopes, my fears. Oh boy. Okay. What would I do normally? I'll try to look good to as many people as possible. Whew, okay. Is that what's calling me in this moment? What's bigger than that? And now, okay, what will unleash me? What's the decision? I think if you go through those 5 questions, which I do several times a day about stuff, I think you're going to be wiser. You're going to not be centered on your fear. Because I think a lot of leadership is driven by fear without you realizing it.
Oh, well, hidden fear.
Fear of looking bad, fear of failure, fear of making a mistake, fear of something. And so when fear is driving you, it may or may not be what the situation needs.
Okay, if you have somebody who has a big pull towards the LDI and is at the same time afraid of what they might find or discover, how would you invite or encourage, or what would you say to a person like this?
When you're ready to bring your fear to the LDI, we'd love to have you. I mean, I've spent 4 years in the military, right, in some pretty hairy situations. And people say, that people think that courage is not having fear. No. Courage is having the fear and then doing something doing it anyway. So I would say bring your fear to the LDI.
I have a sentence for you to finish with 2 blanks.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. So, LDI is not for people who want blank. It's for people who want blank.
It's not for people who want to get their ticket punched. It's for people who want to genuinely explore and develop who they are.
Perfect. Thank you. And last question from me. What is the most honest 30-second invitation to LDI that you can give?
I usually start, if I'm sitting on an airplane, let's say, and just talking, what's keeping you up at night? I might ask somebody, or assuming I can open that question, or I may start talking about a tiger. Mm-hmm. What's a tiger you're facing? Okay. What do you typically do in that situation? And already they're curious. You mean there's other things? Yeah, because you have default ways of the funnel of approaching this. What if there were other ways of doing this that might even produce a breakthrough that you haven't considered before? And they go, oh, that's my pitch. Start with something that's real for them. Don't do this because it's a great program. Do this because there's something going on in your life that you would like to bring more of who you are to that situation that might produce a different outcome from yourself and the people you care about.
Thank you. I'd like to spend 2 or 3 minutes talking about the community that you've built, because I'm part of the community and I love the people. I know them for over a decade. People come, some go.
Amazing group, isn't it?
Phenomenal, worldwide. Can you say something about that?
Boy, I just feel grateful. I hadn't thought about this before, but there's a kind of a magnet, the LDI, and maybe me to some extent, as the whatever source. It's kind of it attracts certain kinds of people, and people who don't really fit or who don't belong will vote themselves off the island. They take themselves off the island. So what's left are people that are genuinely, authentically committed to participating in the, my thing is transforming the world at work. In worlds, I meant to, St. Francis said, don't change the world, change worlds. I think the LDI changes worlds. And in the process, maybe changes a world for a team or for a company or family or something like that. So this network started with, I just realized when this insurance company in America said, how many can you do in a month? It was just me, and I always worked with a colleague.
You were the bottleneck.
I was the bottleneck. Always worked with a female colleague. I liked the male-female team, the yin and the yang. Back in the 80s, a lot of these executives to talk about themselves with a woman. That like
Are you
I'm
kidding?
going to talk about business stuff with leadership with a woman. What the hell? What does she know? Was really profound. And so after a while, I had 3 or 4 women colleagues that I was working with. Then I formed a partnership with a guy who was just a brilliant guy in the room, so that he needed to be brought on board. And so this sort of the certification process was more like an apprentice model. Like back you're trying to learn how to be a bricklayer. So you've got a guy that really knows how to lay bricks, and you hang out with him for a while, and he shows you all the stuff, and you practice and you mess up, and the first few walls collapse, and then after a while you both, oh wow, okay, you both know that it's time for you to hang up your own shingle.
Kind of sounds familiar.
Yes, exactly. And that was the model that came to me. And I didn't want to scale it. Scaling was not the goal, but organic growth was the goal. And so very slowly somebody will come in, we're in it now. And I'm not sure, I'm 85. As you know, I told the network, this is not sustainable to have me be the guy. And so now some of you, like you and Anya and others, you're going to be they're going to be these centers, LDI, I'm sure, energy centers around the world, and that are going to be, multiplying the thing as is appropriate.
So I know you're a very generous guy on many layers, and I experienced it many times. And at the same time, you want to guarantee the quality, and also, there's it's your IP. You also want to make sure that it's delivered the way you want it to be delivered, so it has the impact. So it has, because the LDI has a brand. It used to be connected just with you.
With me.
But now, good news, bad news.
I'm happy. I'm thrilled. This is mission accomplished.
Yes,
seriously.
I believe that. But
and I miss it.
I understand that.
Being in the room for an LDI is, if I could pick a moment to die, it would be right at the end of
the last checkout on the day 4. Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
I can relate to that. Yeah. Yes. So you do want to make sure that this is that the people that run the program are creating they have the DNA, I would say. Yeah, they have to have the DNA. But they're creating the quality of space that you want in the LDI. And that's why you certify some people. But you always say if you step on this path, there's no guarantee you will become certified, because it might just show up that it's not working. Exactly.
If you have to be comfortable in the territory. It's like being a tour guide. How can you be a guide? You're going to take a group of people on a trip. You need to have been there a few times.
Hopefully.
And know what's coming. Or like going down the river in a raft. You have to have gone down there. I've gone down the river, like we go down the river. I've been around it, 1,000 times. So it's I know what the material is, but I don't know what's going to be around that bend in the river today with this group in this room. So you need to be skillful and professional and fully present and trusting and open to what's really happening in the room. That's a rare combination, and not everybody has it. Not everybody can, I think, get to the level. Now, truth, Shemek, coming out here is, I'm going to pass on at some point. I don't know how many more trips around the sun I've got. And at that point,
comes for all of us.
Yes. And at that point, it's not about me letting go. I will be gone.
You're going to be let go. Yeah.
And so if this thing begins to grow, then I would hope that the quality is baked into you guys. It's not just me that wants the quality. And I know that. I can see it already in you and Anya and the others that are certified. The reason you're certified is because I think you have the DNA, and you couldn't throw it away if you tried. Why would you throw away something that is working so well and so meaningful and so powerfully for you and other people? So that's my hope.
Thank you. That's really moving also. I'm done with the questions. Maybe there's something you'd like to state at the end to finish our interview. This was fabulous. I love it. But maybe something was not mentioned or covered.
What's moving in me, Shemek, is how really lovely this conversation has been. And with you.
Oh, thank you.
Specifically
Likewise.
With you. There's a quality to our friendship and our colleagueship that is very, very special. And in a way, it represents you represent Poland to me. I mean, the LDI had graduates from 10 or 15 countries. When I came here in 2007, 2008, I actually didn't come to bring the LDI. I came to teach organizational change, and the LDI was just this really cool thing that I thought I would try. It became the tail that wags the dog.
Lucky for me.
And so what's moving in me right now is Poland has changed my life. I've been here. I was here 8 years in Krakow, 8 years in Warsaw, and now back and forth from Seattle to Warsaw. And this world that you and Anya and others are creating here, because you met me, is very moving to me when I see what's happening in your lives and then the lives of the people. It's like a fractal that goes out now, and it's like
spreads further.
If
ripples.
My personal mission, if it's transforming worlds at work, I'm like, I can go home I can go to sleep a happy man every night. So thank you for being what Poland has been for me. Poland is an invitation for me to be all of who I am, all out, almost every day. It's why I love so much.
As a whole you.
Exactly.
Thank you, John, for your time. Thank you for the conversation. Thank
to samo dla mnie.
Thank you. Thank you. Always, it's a lovely time. Thank you to our audience. I'm Przemek Gawroński. My guest was John Scherer, founder, creator of the Leadership Development Intensive. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Przemek.